Hi everyone. My name is Timileyin. You can call me Timmy, and I'm currently doing my master's in health informatics at the University of Toronto. I'm currently interning with the AI design and delivery team. And today, I'll be talking about one of the projects I worked on, which is the AI change management thought leadership project. Okay, so here is the overview of what I'll be talking about today. And okay, before we go into what the project is about, I just want to give a little bit of background on why this project is important. Because AI has fueled interests, investment, and innovation. A latest McKinsey Technology Trend Outlook highlighted that despite challenging market conditions in 2023, sustained investment in frontier technologies, particularly AI, continue to drive innovation and promise in significant growth in enterprise adoption. In this same report, it also showed that 74% of respondents have either experimented with AI, piloted or scaled applied AI and generative AI, and 67% of the respondents say that they expect their organization to invest more in AI over the next 3 years. And that's one of the reasons for birthing the AI change management project. So the project explored how organizations integrating AI can foster continuous reinvention and challenges and opportunities. Also to work with peers, industry leaders, and researchers to discuss strategies for leveraging AI potential across the enterprise. So these were 3 major objectives that we were looking to achieve during the AI change management project, which is first to gain insight. That is for everyone who comes in to be able to learn latest trends and best practices in AI adoption and AI use in the organization. Then 2, to build connections, to network with peers from various industries, cross-learning, sharing knowledge that can be helpful between industries. And 3rd, to gain a competitive advantage. We believe that when people network with other peers, learn what is ongoing, they can be able to pick 1 or 2 things to establish in the organization. Here is like the AI companies who participated in the project. Okay, so for this project, we did it we had 4 days, and each of the days had different work streams. The first day was the open plenary session. I would be focusing on the control and governance work stream because that was the one I led. And my major role in leading this was to first communicate with the team we were co-leading with, which was KPMG, to communicate with them to ensure that we're on the same page because they were also leading the workshop, to also set up questions, to design questions for the panel discussion, questions for the roundtable discussion, and seed questions for the speakers as well, and also to work with the facilitators to facilitate the roundtable discussions. So from the panel discussions, from the speaker conversation, and also from the roundtable discussions, here are some of the 3 key takeaways that I will share from the control and governance workstream. So the first one is to establish AI governance structure and accountability. So before I go into that, I just want to put a disclaimer that these key takeaways were birthed from the conversations that we had during the panel discussions and the roundtable discussions as well. First is establish AI governance structure and accountability, which was one of the premise themes that came up in the discussion, which is the establishment of AI governance structure and accountability. Organizations, of course, recognize the necessity of having designated AI governance roles, such as chief AI officers, to oversee AI risk and compliance, ensuring accountability at every level of the AI lifecycle. Ideally, AI governance should integrate with existing corporate governance frameworks while allowing for sector-specific flexibility. The second key takeaway was regulatory and legal consideration. So first, the lack of cohesive global regulatory framework for AI create compliance challenges for organizations operating internationally. So discrepancies in AI regulations across countries increases the complexity and then the cost of compliance, often forcing companies to create region-specific policies. And one of the potential solutions that came up in the discussion to address this is for companies to adopt a comply globally and act locally approach, where they can implement baseline regulatory standards that align with the strictest jurisdictions. And this approach allows them to adopt specific requirements to regional regulations without creating entirely new frameworks. And finally, data integrity and accessibility. Of course, when it comes to AI deployment or anything that has to do with AI, is dependent on good data, is dependent on the quality of data that is available. And data integrity and accessibility, they are foundational to effective AI governance. As AI models, they rely on high quality and unbiased data for accurate decision making. And one of the potential solutions that came up to addressing this is to implement data validation protocols and regularly auditing data sources that can help to improve data quality in the organization. And I'll be sharing the impact of the AI change management project that we worked on. First was to strengthen cross-industry connections, which aligns with some of the goals that I mentioned that we wanted to achieve for this project. And one of the ways we were able to achieve this was to facilitate collaborations and idea sharing. We had a total of 85 participants from 19 different organizations across different sectors. And we made sure that during the roundtable discussions, we as the facilitators spoke less and gave every other person the opportunity to share their concerns, share potential solutions. And so everybody can contribute to that. Then two, empowered stakeholders through multi-format engagement. So we did this by stirring up conversations from the speaker conversation, from the panel discussions. Aside from the questions that we had developed for the panel discussions, we also opened up the floor for every other person to ask questions during the panel discussion. Three, also during the roundtable discussion as well, which I mentioned. Then delivered scalable and practical outcomes. So that was one of these things we're really able to achieve during the workshop. So the workshop for the control and governance workstream was co-led by KPMG. And we had very practical workshop sessions whereby we divided the groups into organizations that are new when it comes to AI governance and organizations that are established. And then from the organizations that are established, how did they get to that established level? And what are the things that organizations that are new can learn from what the other people have done so far. And so we had that sort of interactive workshop session. And finally, promoted a unified vision for AI transformation. It's important to also note that during the conversation, we did not entirely come up with any conclusion as to this is how to go about AI governance, because when it comes to AI, so many things are always coming up and things are changing. However, we ensured that everyone was able to go back to the organization to be able to contribute something from what they've learned from the knowledge that's been shared. And some of the lessons that we learned, which also included some of the feedback that we got from the session, was one, to include more voices from academic or vector research community so that the discussions can be more enriched, and then organizations can also learn some of the new research or new ways to new use cases and applications when it comes to AI for their organizations. Then two, engaging more decision makers for greater impact. So the conversation was majorly around AI change management and thought leadership. And so it was important for us to have, even if we had people who could influence decisions in the conversation, it was also more important for us to have more decision makers so that the implementation in the organizations can be faster, and then we can have more people who are actually making the decisions to implement what was discussed, and also allocate more time for roundtable discussions. So we had feedback from the participants that they really enjoyed the roundtable discussions, having to directly ask someone that, okay, how do you undo this in the organization? This is our challenge, and how can we pick from what what your organization has, implemented? And so those were the lessons that we learned so far. So if you have any questions, you can ask questions.
Nice presentation. For the impact slide, you mentioned promoting a unified vision for AI transformation. Does that mean was an actual tangible vision statement or document afterwards, or was it more like an understanding at the end of the meetings that people were aligned about next steps? Was there something actually tangible from this?
Yeah, so we did a bit of both. After the session, after the project, we actually had well-detailed documents to include all the conversations and sorting them out into key concerns and potential solutions that every organization, when they read through this, they can always go back to pick up some of these things. And also during the workshop as well, we also had presentation which also showed vision statements, how this particular organization co-leading were able to achieve that as well.
What was the most interesting insight you kind of learned from the panel about AI governance and what it means to you?
Okay, so one of the very interesting things for me was to see how much top organizations were still struggling when it comes to AI governance. And the fact that I think one interesting conversation that came up during the panel session was when it comes to developing frameworks for AI governance, some people do not feel that what they are doing is AI because then they have to align with the frameworks or regulations. And so they're like, oh no, we're not doing AI. And so the discussion got to the point where there has to be a definition of what is AI, a unified definition of what is AI, and then what are the regulations for us to align with that. And so it was very interesting to learn that every organization is still working around AI topics.
Thank you.